Hello guys, this is Recaps Now here. Today we will discuss about the famous English crime drama film The Shawshank Redemption. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a scene where a man named Andy, being tried at a court for the murder of his wife and her boyfriend. Andy repeatedly denies the allegations, but all the proofs are against him, and for this reason he is sentenced to life imprisonment. Andy was a banker by profession, and the vice president of a large and famous bank. We then see that in spite of his successes at an early age, now he has to spend the rest of his life in jail. The prison in which he was brought to was called Shawshank. We also see that there were a number of prisoners who had been imprisoned for 30, 40 or even 50 years. For this very reason they have forgotten everything about the outside world, and the prison seemed to be their family to them. The jailer of the prison was called Norton, who believed in discipline and was a highly religious person. If anybody broke the rule, they had to face brutal punishment, to the extent that the person in question could be almost dead at times. After being brought to the prison, we see Andy become quiet and lonely. But here is where the story turns and Andy meets a man named Red. We are then informed that Red was in this prison for the last 20 years and brought things to the prisoners if they required something. We then see that Andy asks Red to bring him a small hammer, and Red asks him, "What will you do with a hammer?" A surprised Red asks him if he was planning to elope from the prison or kill somebody. Andy replies, "You will find out once you bring it." Sometime later we see that Red is somehow able to bring the hammer inside the prison, and laughs, thinking that it would take approximately 600 years to break out from the prison using this. The scene then shifts and we see the hammer is received by Andy, and subsequently one night he is attacked by a group of gay men while he was working in the laundry. We see Andy face a few more such brutal sexual harassment at the hands of Boggs and his gang. After a couple of years we see that many prisoners, including Andy and Red, working on the reconstruction and repair project of the roof. We then see that while working, Andy overhears a group of guards talking, and one such guard was Headley, who had inherited a fortune worth $35,000. Andy then goes to Headley and informs him of a few methods by which the money can be withdrawn and how taxes can be waived. Due to Andy's suggestion, Headley is able to save a handsome amount of money, and as a token of appreciation, we see Headley offering a few drinks to Andy and the rest of the inmates. The scene then shifts to a point where we see that Boggs and Sisters gang once again exploits Andy sexually and leave him in a horrible state. This proves to be a turning point in the movie, as after this Boggs is punished and put in the dungeon, which was the worst place in the prison. After this we see how Boggs is beaten up by Headley as a revenge for hurting Andy, and how Boggs becomes crippled for life due to the beating. We then see that Andy returns to the prison after being treated and is met with by the warden, who gives him a Bible and says here is where the freedom lies. We are then shown how impressed the warden was, that he gave Andy a job as the librarian. After this we see many of the prisoners and guards came to Andy to seek financial advice from him. In the meanwhile we are shown how Andy seeks funding from the government to transform the library via letters. After the redevelopment of library, we see that the warden introduces the Inside Out program for the prisoners. We later see that the warden had made a lot of money through the contracts acquired via the project, which he used to increase his financial security. We also see Andy suggesting to the warden about creating a fake bank account by the name of Randon Stevens, so that if any of the wrongdoings are found, the law enforcement agencies would search for Randon and none of them will be harmed. After some time we are introduced to a new prisoner, Tommy Williams, who becomes friends with Red, Andy and other inmates, and informs them that, "While I was in another prison before coming here, I met with a thief who once went to steal things from a lavish flat, and as he was caught by the owners, he killed them both and fled, and that the owner was a banker's wife, and the police suspected that the murders were committed by the banker and punished him. This turns out to be Andy's wife and her boyfriend who are the victims, and we come to know the man wrongly punished as Andy." After this we see that Andy informs the warden about the situation, but is met with disappointment and warns the warden. This angers the warden, who says, "Don't you dare speak about the money to anyone." After that Andy is put in the dungeons, and after a few days we see Andy being freed from dungeon, and Red and the rest of the prisoners come to know about how Andy is serving an unfair punishment for a crime he didn't commit for the last 19 years. After this we see Red coming to meet with Andy, where the conversation goes like this: "Andy, do you think you will ever live as a free man?" Red: "I think when I am old and unable to do anything, then they might free me." Andy: "I will be off to Zihuatanejo, a Mexican island. I will build a hotel there and go fishing, then I will be needing people like you. Red: I don't think I can live outside prison, and Mexico is a far-fetched dream, my friend. Andy: Yes, I know, but there are only two paths I may take, that is either I'll live a suffocated life or death. Andy then requests Red to some of his stuff that are hidden in the stone wall nearby. After this, we see Red starting to worry about Andy, and we also see Andy working in the library regarding the black money of the warden. After finishing his task, we see Andy return to his cell. The scene shifts to next morning, where all the prisoners are freed, except Andy, who is missing. We then see the warden come to the scene, and he questions Red about Andy's whereabouts, but Red denies having any knowledge of where he is. Red: I don't know. After that, we see a model's picture that is hung on the walls. The warden orders to open that and finds out that Andy escaped via a secret passage he built using the hammer that Red had brought him. We then find out that the previous night Andy had replaced the files in the warden's locker with the Bible. After this, we see how Andy had to pass Huge Drain in order to escape, and when the warden and the rest are searching for him. He goes to the bank as Randon Stevens and withdraws all the money and informs the press about it. The scene then shifts to next morning, when we see the papers have reported the doings of the warden. After this, the warden finds the Bible in his locker, where it is written, "You were right, redemption lies in this." This was the Bible that the warden gifted him 20 years ago. After that, we see the cops coming in to arrest the warden, and the warden kills himself. In the final scene, we see Red being freed, and he goes to collect the things that Andy had mentioned about. And he travels to the Mexican island, where he sees Andy fishing in a boat, and both smile at each other. At last, they were both free souls after a lifetime in prison. Thus, the movie ends. Thank you for watching.